You guys all missed it.
Misty is here. She's our guest agent TC. So she's going to do the drawing. You got to stand up and do this drawing. Do not look, Misty. They will. They. Oh yeah. Okay. Now.
Rounded edges.
Square.
Mike Bumpus.
Is Mr. Bumpus on? Let's see. Participants.
Yeah,
Where's he?
probably, who knows, Middle East.
LM. Nope, no Bumpus.
Okay. No Mike Bumpus. So next week. This one stays out, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So next week we are up to 120. You want to win it at 120 anyway, huh, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
You'd like to win that 200 like that?
Yeah, yeah. Gunner won at 200 and Gunner won the gift basket. And Jim was mad.
That bastard.
Jim was mad. So, okay, Anthony is on Zoom. Anthony Gonzalez from Vera Mortgage. So what you got for us today, Anthony?
Well, not much to report on the rate front. Rates have stayed pretty level. So, I mean, there's a big jobs report coming out this Friday. So that could be market moving. So hopefully we get a good jobs report. When I mean by good jobs report, I mean a bad jobs report, because obviously that news would help us on the rate front. So it was interesting to look. Rates are actually almost exactly the same as they were last year at this time. So it's kind of just, it's either going to go one way or another right now at this point, and we're hoping it goes in our favor because, as we've talked about, as the rates come down, it'll drive the market, get buyers off the fence, and hopefully get us more sales. So that's kind of the hope as we find out more news towards the end of the week. So hopefully next week when I'm on, I'll be able to report some really good news. That's what I'm hopeful for. So
Do you think, Anthony,
Yes.
think stopping buyers right now because they're kind of waiting for these rates to come down because they keep hearing this?
I think the biggest thing that you want to do when you educate buyers right now is you want them. Here's the thing: right now is the time to try to secure a transaction. So, because if you think about it, once, and we've seen this, and history repeats itself. When the rates do come down, more buyers come into the market, and there's more competition. So I think that really want to educate our buyers right now, and borrowers. We're saying the same thing is now is actually before the rates go down is when you want to get in, because when they do, that typically drives the prices up, and then they're going to end up paying more for the property. So you can always refinance. We always talk about that. So I think just educate buyers right now that are on the fence, that are waiting for these rates to get so much better, is you can always refinance, but you can secure your property now at the price now and not have to worry about competition or even secure property at all. Because we know how it goes. If the rates come down and all these buyers start, getting off the fence, getting pre-qualified, start making offers, it's just a lot of competition again. And then, we might miss out on properties, whereas you can secure a property now with all the choices that are out there.
Because rates are flexible, but once
Exactly.
you lock in price, you're set. You can't
Exactly.
change that. It doesn't matter if prices drop.
Exactly. That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. So,
Jim Carson.
I want to put in a plug for Anthony and his crew. I had a new client contact me on Monday, and I told them they need to get pre-qualified. I gave them Anthony's contact information. I said, listen, it's a holiday. You're probably not going to hear back, but leave a message for Anthony and they'll get back to you probably Tuesday morning. Not only did Anthony call them right away, but Ashley reached out to me as well and had an application. I'm working on it. And first thing the next morning, they were contacting me. So I appreciate the response.
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that.
Anybody else have any questions for Anthony? No? Anything on the chat, Jackie? No, I don't think so.
I have a question for Anthony.
Chris Webb.
What's
get
up?
ready. Chris
What's
Webb
up,
has
Webb?
a question for you.
Go for it.
Hello.
Hello, buddy.
What are you guys expecting is gonna in the news when they're talking about the Fed rate being cut, coming up in what, September, I think? Or
Yep,
is it
September 17th.
17th?
Mhm.
Is that, is there any kind of an expectation of that, or is that already built into the market? Is it?
It is. That's a great question because most people think that right when the Fed cuts on the 17th, that day, that rates are just going to shoot down, and that's actually not the case. As Chris talked about here, it's typically it's already kind of built in. So you kind of have seen the rates come down over the last few weeks as they talk about the rate cut. So it's already kind of built in. The only thing that could drive it, Chris, would be something that is not expected. So let's say we get to the meeting and they don't cut, which I don't think that'll happen, but let's just pretend that happened. Then the rates would actually go up. So, that would, obviously drive the market. The other thing is if they're talking about a 0.25 cut, let's say we get a miraculous, that day, because the jobs report's huge this week on Friday. So let's say it's a really weak jobs report, and then on that they decide we're going to cut at 0.5. Well, 0.5 is not built in. So then we could see it that day or within those days, the rates,
Right.
actually drive down. Good question.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, Anthony. Well,
Okay.
we're counting
Well,
on you next week for good news.
exactly. That's what I'm hoping I'll bring next week. Some good news. So,
Yeah, don't let us down.
okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. See you guys.
All in your hands. We know you control it. So,
Thanks a lot. No pressure. No pressure.
no pressure, but we're all going to hate you if you come in with bad news.
Okay. Exactly. Thanks a lot.
All right. Okay. So now we're on to the very exciting time blocking class. So I tried to make it sound better. That's why I came up with time is money, because it's not exciting, but it is important, right? It's so important. And what did the first class that I ever took at Keller Williams was Brian, and it was
80-20 time blocking.
time blocking. He called it time blocking. I think my name is better. Time is money. But Brian called it time blocking, and it was the first thing that I learned. And it is so important. And anybody who doesn't use your calendar, shame on you. And if you are not time blocking, shame on you. And there's all kinds of excuses. People don't want to do it, but it is so important. It is one of the core things that we need to master for real estate. So when agents, I love this phrase, when people want to become an agent, and I ask them why, and they say for the flexible hours, after I get done laughing to myself, right? Then I tell them, yeah, they're flexible, all right, with what your client needs, but they really are controllable. So, and I have other agents that have told me, oh, I'm not going to be, controlled by my calendar. Okay, then your business, you won't have control of your business. It is absolutely essential that you do it, that you face it. And the busier, and even when you're just starting, get in the habit of it. The busier you get. So when I was like really selling full time, and I was doing however many deals I was doing a year, close to 90 on my own. Do you think I could have done that without putting everything in my calendar and knowing where I had to be at what time? I had to. So anybody who thinks that it is not important, you're fooling yourself. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we'll try and make this as fun as possible, but 2 to 3 hours of lead gen is what the top producers are doing per day. 2 to 3 hours, and not willy-nilly 2 to 3 hours. The ones that are doing it seriously, that are cold calling, that are whatever they're doing for lead gen, they're blocking that time, and that time is precious. That time is gold. They do not waver on that time. Because time management, it's more than just scheduling meetings, making appointments. It's when you're putting things in your calendar, it's a visual representation of your goals, right? So I did read this. There was a Harvard Yale study, and it talked about people that graduates, the ones that were paid very well, of course, were enormously satisfied with their lives. But true satisfaction comes from having choices and feeling significant in the lives of others. So that struck me because I feel that what we do is very significant in other people's lives. It's not just the money, it's the feelings we get when we close an escrow with people, when we're helping them. It's very rewarding what we do. Earning money is the side effect of that. That's why I always say, don't focus on your commissions, focus on the clients. The commission will come. And so it's super important to have these goals, but these are the statistics of these students. 84% of the students reported earning an average wage and feeling somewhat unsuccessful. These students never identified any goals. So 84%. So that I was able to relate that to what we do as the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the agents do 80% of the business. So these are the 80%. That could be the 80% of the agents that don't time block, that don't take their business seriously, that don't run it like a business, right? It's just willy-nilly. So then he went on to say 10% of the students did have goals, but didn't write them down. They just visualized them, which is better than not having any goals. And those 10% earned 3 times more than the 84%. Okay, just by visualizing. The final statistic was 6% wrote down their goals and they earned 10 times the amount of the 84%. So there it is in black and white. You have to have goals. When you write down your goals, you're more likely to achieve them. And that goes back to manifesting. You know, if you believe in manifesting and writing things down, if you are writing down goals and you're breaking them up, those are the milestones, right? You do the little daily tasks that lead to the weekly tasks, that lead to the monthly tasks, that lead to the yearly goals. And that goes back to the 7 habits of highly effective people. If you have not read that book, you should read that book. And it talks about those habits and it talks about working backwards. Okay. So let's say your goal is 3, and this will all tie in with time blocking, I promise. So if your goal is to have 300 SOI contacts by December 31st, okay, by the end of the year, you know you're going to need to add 100 SOI contacts every month, right? To get to 300 more, because we're up September, October, November. Well, we're a little bit off, but let's say it's 100 a month. So that means we need to do 25 contacts weekly, and that's 5 contacts daily. Okay. So why wouldn't you time block starting with the 5 contacts daily every day? Right? Why wouldn't that go into your calendar every day? If that's a goal and you work backwards from that, why wouldn't you do that? So it's the 7-to-1 ratio. So let's talk money about that. So if you do 40 contacts with those 300 people yearly, okay, it's easy. Sounds like a lot, but it's not, because if you have them on an automatic drip, if it's the holidays, that's 12 a year right there. If you put them on Home Pulse, if they own a home, that's another 12, because they get the monthly value of their home, the value of their home every month. Now you're at 24 and you haven't invited them to any events. You haven't done any other kind of drip campaigns, a care call here and there. It's easy to get to 40. So you do 1 closed deal for every 7 people that you touch 40 times in a year. That is the breakdown of how that goes. If our average commission is $8,750, which I think it's actually a little higher, but I was trying to be conservative, out of a 300 database, once you got to 300, working those leads, touching them 40 times a year, you'd have 43 closed deals. 43 times 8,750 is $376,250 a year. Right? And where does that start? With time blocking for doing that, getting those 5 contacts, whatever your plan is for that. And that is super. How do I change this, Jackie, here? And that is super precious to do that, to time block that, and important. So let's go. Oh, there we go.
Sorry. It's too much now.
All right, okay. And I can't see. All right. So real estate is a freedom business, but there's only freedom that comes with structure, which I know it sounds like a contradiction, but you have to have that. Chris and I were talking yesterday, right, Chris? And what were you talking about with time blocking? How it has affected you?
It's been, I've had a lot of extra stuff that I've been doing. And there's no way, zero chance, like there's no way to be able to do it all. Like you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off without doing it. So I'm like living by the calendar, and it's like people think that it's bad. It sets you free. Like
does.
you can do anything you want in the world. Just put it on your calendar and block it out.
Cause you're also
Good.
not wasting energy trying to remember the things that aren't on the calendar.
Or time or double booking. So like my calendar, I know when I'm gonna train with Tyler, right? With my trainer. So the week before on Friday or the last day of the week that I train with him, we pull up our calendars, we both do it, and we say, okay, let's pick out our 3 training. I train 3 times a week for an hour. He goes, well, what does Monday look like for you? And then it sees what looks, and we put it in, and it's gold. I don't mess with it. Once it's in, it's in. And I usually know the week ahead what I've got going, if it's going to work, doctor's appointments, if I have to, something that I have to do. So I'll tell him, oh, Monday is good. He'll say, can you do 7? I can do 6, but not 7. You know, that kind of thing. I put it in my calendar and it's done. And I don't mess
It
with
really
it.
is a visual representation.
It is.
Okay.
It is. And
It's a visual representation right there about
Sure is.
it. You get it filled out.
once you get it filled out and you know what you're doing, you don't double book. And I know that I train every Wednesday. Guess what? At 11 o'clock. Training is important. It's important to agents. I mean, it should be, right? To further your business and know. I block out this time. If a client calls me and wants me to show them property or do a listing, I never give them the option of Wednesdays at 11 because I've got it blocked out. And they don't, and I will tell them, oh, that's my training day. I can't do it. I could do it in the afternoon. I can't do it in the morning because I'm coming over from Visalia. It's not going to work. Or I can do it tomorrow, or I can do it Friday. I always give them 2 options. I've never had anybody push back on me. I set myself as the professional because my time is important. You wouldn't go to a doctor and say, oh, this is my appointment time. And a doctor's not going to mess with those appointments. That's why they do it, right? It's not willy-nilly. You've got to run it like a doctor's office. Like, these are your appointments. It's important. I'm sure a doctor blocks out time that he calls patients back, right? So we have to run our business like that. So there are time thieves when we're doing our time blocking. So Brian always described it, big rocks, the big rocks. So the big rocks are going to be the things, I mean, let's be honest, that make us money, right? That's what our big rocks are. Everything else filters in between. So when everybody does their calendar different, what I do is I put my big rocks in, I know what I've got, and then I also know the things that I have to work in during the day, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a particular time. And then you can also block out like a block to do those things. Like maybe, you go to the gym at 7, you get home by 8, you're going to eat breakfast, 9 o'clock, you're doing your lead gen for 2 hours. And then at 11, you might do from 11 to 12, the whirlwind stuff, that's a 4DX term, right, Chris? The whirlwind. And that's calling clients, not lead gen, but maybe follow up with escrow, working on escrows, that kind of thing. So, but the time thieves are going to be social media scrolling, not social media posting, social media scrolling, getting on social media and mindlessly, you think you're on it. And then an hour later, hey, I do it. I'm guilty. And then all of a sudden, an hour later, I'm like, oh crap, what happened? I just lost an hour. Over prepping for showings. It's great to be prepared, but don't be over prepared. Don't go down the rabbit hole. I have had newer agents say, well, I don't know the property. I don't know properties when I go and show them either. I know the basic stuff, but that's, You have your phone. You're learning the property with your clients. I mean, you get the basics on it, right? But you don't have to be an expert. And it's okay not to be an expert. It's okay to call the listing agent and ask some questions and get back to your clients and keep that interaction going. Reactive client work. So if you know that from 9 to 11 is your lead gen time, turn your phone off. There is no emergency that you need to handle within a 2-hour window that can't be done later. Turn it off, because otherwise you're going to start answering phone calls. You're going to start returning emails. You're going to get off the track for your precious lead gen time, because that's where you make your money, right? Doing tasks others could handle. So this is like TCing your own files, right? We have TCs, we pay TCs. Agents, I know some agents want to TC their own files, but it's nothing that I would ever do. And I feel like it's time spent. You're saving, how much is a TC now, Misty? 300, 350. You're saving $350 when you could be doing the $500 an hour stuff. And instead you're focusing on 350. So I say, I don't care. And plus, when you're new, I know they want to save the money, but are they really knowledgeable enough to be able to, especially when they're new, you need those TCs. So for time thieves, what else does anybody have for time thieves? Chris, what gets in your way?
Family calls, like you get a brother or sister that calls and wants to talk your ear off, it throws me off every time.
Yep.
I'll end up talking to her for an hour.
Yep.
I'm like, gosh damn, that just screwed up this whole exercise time I had planned.
Yeah. Do you think it would be beneficial to block out a time to return phone calls that's not within your lead gen time?
Absolutely. Yeah, you look on your calendar. When's the next time that's available that's not taken up? Call then.
Exactly. Jim, do you have any?
These damn kids,
Yeah, I ignore my kids.
you do.
Time block.
They're adults. Yeah. Luis, anything?
Just keep it simple. Like you said, even when you have something time block, it's so easy to go down different rabbit holes. Like you mentioned earlier, Sarah, that keep it simple. What you're trying to do is just keep it at that. If you're trying to lead generate and find new clients, stay focused on finding new clients, because sometimes what I've noticed is I'm lead generating, I'm trying to get new clients, and then I remember something about an old client, and I go down that rabbit hole, and then it kills the rest of that half an hour that I had planned on getting new clients. So just stay focused. Also, be proactive, not reactive, right? It's that fire mentality. If you don't time block, you're gonna spend countless hours, countless energy on just putting out those fires that you're trying to do throughout the day. So if you prevent that, then you have a more structured way to go about it. You can get it done. I've done it both ways. I've done it where, I focus on time blocking that whole week, and I get a lot of work done, but I feel more relaxed at the end of the week.
Right.
And I've done it where I shoot, and I'm a firefighter that week, but by Friday, by Saturday, I'm spent.
Yeah.
We
Exhausted.
still got a lot of work done, because we will, but mentally, and it drains the heck out of you.
Yeah. Have you ever heard that where they say run your business like you're going out of town the next day? You know how you have everything in your, I do it on a checklist. Like I put things in my calendar, but I like to write it down too. And I just get some sort of weird satisfaction out of crossing it off on a sheet. But I love that because
Sarah,
when I'm going out,
can I add something on time thieves?
Yeah.
For me personally, and I don't know if this can help anybody in the room or online, but I was talking to Gunnar a few weeks ago about about scrolling, and I just find myself like accidentally scrolling. Like I'll be trying to call a client or call somebody back or be on the phone or actually doing work activities, and then I'll just my mind just scrolls to the part, and then I'm sitting there for like 20 minutes. I'm like, why am I on Instagram? I don't even know how I got here, and I'm just scrolling looking at videos or whatever. And it's usually sports stuff and coaching stuff and all the things that I like to do, but because they come up. But still, my point is that just I didn't even realize I was spending so much time doing that. So Gunner's like, there's an app to be able to block that, right? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, there's an app. So I signed up for the app that night, and since then, it's been about 3 to 4 weeks. I cannot look at Instagram or Facebook from 8 to 8. So like only after 8 p.m. or before 8 a.m. And it's really honestly, it's helped me. And if you have to go in there to post something, because people say, well, I have to do something for work, you can get like a 5 minute break off of it to do your thing and then come back on. But if anybody else has been like me, where you just are like looking through your phone, trying to text somebody for work, and then you find yourself like just you're like, why am I on this? What am I doing? Like it's crazy. But if you stop doing that, the amount of time you can save and the amount of time that I've gotten back over the last couple of weeks, I don't know. It's just been a game changer. So I just thought I'd share.
What's the app called, Anthony?
It's called Opal. And it was crazy because you get it, it's OPAL. And you get the app for free for 7 days. And then after 7 days, you have to pay $99 for the year. Okay. So it was 7 days. And I got into a pretty good habit of not clicking on it. And then, but I didn't trust myself. I was like, I'm gonna pay the $99. I just don't trust myself. And I've done it. I'm doing it for a year. It's been my thing, and it's seriously, it's almost a month now, and I don't miss it. Like I thought I was gonna miss it or whatever. I get on and scroll at night or early, but I'm not scrolling during productive hours from 8 to 8. Those are my productive hours of work where I'm answering calls, returning stuff, calling clients, getting applications, doing things. I'm not like, and it was crazy, Sarah. Like those first couple days, it tells you got blocked. So I would just, I know I'm blocked from it and I'm still going to it. I know I'm blocked from it. And I was still clicking on it. I said, blocked you third time today. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even trying to get on it. So anyways, it's crazy.
It's awesome. And if you are doing social media posts, set your boundaries so that you can go in, time block it, do it at 7 o'clock in the morning, post, and then stay off of it. But what I do, I notice, is I post something in the morning and then I'm going on to see, oh, did I get any comments? How many people have looked at it? You start looking at that, which is stupid because it's who cares? At the end of the day, you could look at it and see, because what difference does it make? And if they did post or ask a question or engage, you can respond then. It's not like you can't. That's awesome. So it's called Opal. If you have zero control with social media, like Anthony Gonzalez,
Yeah.
get Opal. It's only going to cost you $99 a year.
Best $99 spent. So
And that's Gunner was doing that. Okay, JP, I use just the calendar on my phone, whatever that is. I don't even know
Google
what
Calendar.
I
is
use
that.
Google Calendar. You use just your iPhone calendar.
I use my iPhone calendar.
Okay.
Mhm.
It'll
I didn't-
sync with.
I didn't know which one anybody liked better, the Google or the Apple or the one on Sync.
Chris likes Google.
I thought
Google.
Google was.
It syndicates together. But if you downloaded the Google app calendar, it'll be the actual one of there.
Okay, and then they said just take a couple of minutes to write down your time thieves and then figure a way to avoid that. Like what Anthony said, that's brilliant, that whole app. So you can't do it. Because it is very addictive. Social media is very addictive. So I sometimes waste time when I'm at home with Oliver because Oliver is so cute and I cannot resist him. And he comes and he looks at me. And then I'm, oh, Ollie. And then I'm messing around with Ollie. That's silliness. But there's no app for Ollie. I just have to ignore him. What else do I do that is a time thief for me? Not much. Like I'm at home, I'm pretty good about just powering through my day. Jackie, what do you have that's a time thief?
Emails.
Emails. So Jackie gets away from her task at hand and starts going into the emails. I find it, well, I'll tell you what is the one that does tend to is texting. When people text, it pops up. Emails I can ignore because it's not popping up. Text, they pop up, and I have a hard time with that. What about you, Misty? What do you have?
I have lots going on all the time. So for me, I'd say my biggest thing is potential clients can a lot of the times take a lot of my time that they weren't really serious buyers or
And
any of that. So it's like finding that perfect middle ground of like, okay, I want to spend enough time with them, but not
too much.
too much. Yeah.
Well, and what do you think about setting the stage with buyers or with clients? Like, I tell my clients, Wednesdays are bad days for me.
Mhm.
I say because I train. So, and I'm coming over from Visalia. It's very difficult for me to do anything ahead. And I'm after 12 is the only time that I'm available. I tell them, I set the stage. And what if with new buyers, you or even sellers just say, hey, I'm doing lead generation 2 hours a day. So if I don't answer your call between 9 and 11, I'll get back to you. It's just because I'm focusing on, finding buyers for your listing
Yeah.
or, that kind of thing.
That's been, I think, key for me too, is I tend to, I say overshare, but I'm like an open book. So I tell my clients, I'm up late every night, feel free to text me. In my fault too, because
You got to
when they
set
do-
those boundaries.
Right, so the biggest thing is like, also like me letting them know, hey, I'm traveling all day, like I was traveling all day yesterday, so I set that. Knowing what to tell them, what not to tell them too, so that you can set proper expectations with them, like.
Exactly.
I have these things, I block out every day, all of those.
And
just-
it's okay to be very professional
Yeah.
and handle this business like a professional. It's okay to do that. So time blocking, non-negotiable. Treat lead gen like a doctor's appointment. It's not gonna, you don't have, when you have a doctor's appointment, that's your appointment, right?
Mhm.
Treat lead generation the same. I say schedule it first in your day, because if you wait till the end of the day, things pile up.
Mhm.
Like I would do my lead gen, my escrow follow-up, maybe social media, whatever it is, your lunch, whatever it is, and then I would do a time block at the end for returning calls, for all other things, errands. But the most important thing is protect it. Like don't waver from it. So dollar productive activities, DPAs. Those would be prospecting, right? That's lead gen. Follow up, that's also productive. If you have a client and you're reaching out to a buyer, you haven't heard from them, that's a dollar productive. Appointments, that produces money. Negotiating contracts, all of this produces money. This is not all lead gen, right? So this is going to be different ways you're going to schedule this in. Prospecting is lead gen. Follow up, that's a separate category. Scheduling appointments for showings and negotiating contracts, all productive things. And I think when you are breaking this down on your calendar, you're going to do it daily, weekly, and monthly, right? So you know what you've got to do daily. If it's lead gen, you know what you've got to do on a daily basis. You've got to start thinking about, what do you need to do weekly? How about an accountability meeting have an accountability partner? How about somebody that you're sharing your calendar with, that you're sharing, how's it going with lead gen? Because I know it happens. Agents, they say they're going to do it and then they don't do it because they're scrolling, or they gave up their lead gen time to go show property. I promise you, in 25 years, I have never lost a client because I couldn't run out and show right at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday, right? Protect that time. And you just give them two other options. Oh, I'm sorry, I have an appointment. They don't have to know what your appointment is. Or I'm busy during that time, but I can do it at 2 o'clock this afternoon, or I can do it whatever time the next day. It shows you're a professional, you handle your schedule. Your time is important, their time is important. You will not lose a client. And I think it's a red flag anyway, when somebody calls, oh, we need to see it right this second, right now, right this second. There's always, that never works out that well for me, in my opinion. The serious people will make an appointment. Absolutely make an appointment. And then Also weekly, wouldn't you be like planning out your social media content? Networking with other agents, at social events, coming to training. That's once a week that I think is important. Monthly, inviting people to client care events, doing a financial review. Maybe you should be reviewing, this is how much I brought in this month, this is what it cost me to do this, and see, do a profit and loss for your business, run it like a business, and then business planning. So, who has done a dollar productive activity today? Anybody done one? Luis has.
Follow up.
Follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Right? But why wouldn't you want to do more of these in one day? And I know, guys, lead gen is the least popular, but it's the one that's going to make you the most money. If you are not constantly putting pushing things into the pipeline, because not every client is going to be right now. Some of them are going to be 3 months. Some of them are going to be 6 months. Some of them are going to be a year. I just closed escrow last week with somebody that I have been working with for 4 years. 4 years. We finally closed, and we were laughing because he's like, well, now what are you going to do, Sarah? It's been 4 years, and I'm like, well, now I'm just going to follow up with you guys and see how things are going. And it was such a rewarding thing. Number one, they stayed with me for 4 years. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
And we finally did it after 4 years. But so you don't know you know who your A and B clients are, but you still need to, spend time and work with those people and put them into the pipeline. So important. Okay. Non-dollar productive activities. Let's see. Admin and paperwork. Okay. So that's what we have TCs for. And poor Jackie. And I have poor Jackie for admin.
But that's why you were only for so many hours. And that's why you gave me hours from the real estate, so.
That's right. That's right. So Jackie knows what she has to get done within a certain amount. And Jackie is getting way better about calendaring because of all people, Jacqueline is the worst person to calendar, right? Jackie will go down a rabbit hole like nobody's business. And
Missy can see how much things get repeated from when they.
yeah, because Misty's your accountability partner,
Missy
right?
and Lefty.
Yes, so they work together because Jackie is brilliant. Jackie is so smart. Jackie's mind thinks a lot more than my mind does. And so definitely working with a partner has helped Jackie to time block and calendar. And we know when certain reports are due, and that way they just got to get done. And she focuses on that. Over designing marketing pieces. That's another pet peeve of mine. Poor Jackie. It's like I'm focusing on Jackie and I don't mean,
Okay.
yeah. So over designing marketing pieces, because what happens is Jackie wants it to be perfect and we never achieve perfect. So and if you are paralyzed by perfect, nothing gets put out. So, it's good. We can improve on stuff, but don't spend hours and hours and hours or hire somebody else to do it. If you get fed up with it, just hire somebody. Like, Letty does a lot of stuff for us and I pay her as an independent contractor to do special things for us. Yeah. So, but she does things, she was doing stuff like that for us, but running errands. So, that's a non-dollar producing activity is running errands. You should do those on your lunch hour or schedule out time for that. So for 4DX,
Why we pay someone to put up your signs.
that's why we pay somebody to put up the signs. That is a non-dollar producing activity. It's resulting from a dollar producing activity, which is getting a listing, but it is actually a non-dollar producing activity. I don't want you guys out there putting up signs. I want you negotiating contracts, doing lead gen. That's going to make you successful. Putting up signs, once in a while you have a neighbor come out and talk to you, okay? But they also can talk to you at an open house. There's other ways to do that. We read 4DX. Again, another great book. If you have not read 4DX, It's a good one to read. They talk about your whirlwind. Your whirlwind is all these things, the things you get caught up in. What you want to focus on is your wildly important goals. Do you remember, Chris, when we did 4DX?
Mhm.
Chris liked 4DX. And it's another great one. So this is 4DX. If you have not read it, I would read this book. The 7 levels of communication. If you have not read it, schedule some time in, half an hour a day. Here's the other one that all leads. This is the main one, Atomic Habits. If you have not read Atomic Habits, start with this one, because I would say this one first, 7 levels next, and then 4DX. And that's actually the order that we did them in. But Atomic Habits talks about small changes consistently. And this one is life-changing. Remember, this is the first one we started with. This one was amazing. Okay. So just for your own, go through and do your 3 top dollar producing activities that you did this week. And then I guess my question is, how many of you have them scheduled in your calendar scheduled? Does anybody? No?
Yeah, I have everything scheduled.
Chris does. Okay, and Raquel,
She added her SOI to the list.
perfect. So start with a goal, guys. And to get that goal, work backwards, right? Work backwards. So my challenge is going to be figure out what your goal is and then work backwards from that. Get it down to a daily task and plug that task into your calendar and see if you can stick with it. Because what does it take to become a habit? 21 days, right? 21 days of doing anything will become a habit. So if you need help on how to work backwards from your goals, I will help you. Just text me and we'll set up an appointment to do it. I'll put it in my calendar.
60 days.
Well,
One thing
What's it
said
saying?
33 days for one item.
I've heard 21 days.
7 days realistically, if you put it consistently. But Atomic Habits actually said it doesn't matter the days, it's the consistency. Because if you're doing something once a month, it's how often you do it once a month. It's the consistency more than anything, than the amount of days.
Right. So whatever it takes to become a habit, right? I mean, I think it is the consistency, and I think there's different opinions on how long it takes. I've always heard 21 days, but that might be like for not drinking or something. I don't know. That might be something different. I'm not quite sure. But so whatever it is, pick a goal today, guys. Just pick a goal for me. Just because I love you all and I want you to do this. Pick a goal and then work backwards with it and figure out what the daily calendar looks like. And it could be, it doesn't even have to be business. It could be, what if it was a fitness goal, right? Like I want to lose 5 pounds. Okay, well, to do that, I need to, maybe it's working out. Maybe it's whatever it is, like work backwards and put it in your calendar. Love your calendar. Don't hate the calendar. Love the calendar, right? Pick an agent. Maybe partner with somebody like Jackie did with Misty. Helped Jackie so much.
Okay, a year mark, huh?
A year. They've been accountability partners. Like, how's it going? How's your lead gen going?
I helped Tracy and I too.
Tracy as well.
If I go 2 days without, I get phone calls.
Yeah.
They'll give me a
Yeah.
pardon of 1 day.
I just asked ChatGPT about that.
Okay, what'd they say?
They actually called the 21 day a myth.
Oh, 20. Chat disagrees with me.
So it's the 21 day. That was a popular belief that came from a 1960 self-help book, and it's not based on any science.
We'll see. I was born.
So research evidence in 2009 shows an average of 66 days.
Okay, so I was being nice and saying 21. It's 66 days. Give yourself 2 months. See if you can get into a habit. And if you are tracking what you're doing and you're tracking the results, you're going to see. Again, it comes back to the visual. You have a goal. This is what I did. These are the results. You're going to figure out by those results, by what you did, what's working, what isn't. Be honest with yourself. I did, last week I did 4 hours of lead gen, or I did 0, or I did 10. But at least it's the energy you put in, it's going to be what comes out. If you're just sitting around doing nothing, it's not going to work. Even if you don't have clients, work on growing your SOI. Work on touching those people. It's all doable. Everybody knows people. Maybe it's working on your social media, posting. Maybe it's scheduling in open houses, but schedule them. Look at the month and do what you're going to know what you're going to do for the month. Don't just guess. Have a plan. Otherwise,
And
it doesn't work.
This is the other thing that I'll add that was a huge difference for me, and I highly recommend it. Whatever it is that you're trying to create a habit with, don't make it hard. Don't make it difficult. Make it super, super easy, very easily attainable. Then once you have it down as a habit, then you can ramp it up. Then you can start tweaking it. Then you can, now you have that time that you've created a habit to have this time that's separate. Now you don't have to fight and work on that habit. It's already established. Now you just need to amp it up and be more productive during that time.
Exactly. When I was trying to get in the habit with Peloton, the way I started was when I started getting more serious about
Just
it.
sitting on it, not pedaling.
No, that's I ramped it up a little more than that. What I did was I picked a show on Netflix that I wanted to watch, but I would only watch it when I was riding the Peloton. So when I was off the Peloton, I would not allow myself to watch that show on TV.
That's Atomic Habits.
It's Atomic Habits, doing something you love with something you hate, right? Grouping these things
Yep.
together. So I would get on the Peloton and I would, on that beautiful screen, I would start watching whatever it was. And, I would just be pedaling away. Obviously, I wasn't doing a class. I wasn't doing cardio. It was like slow cardio. And I would watch, and somehow 30 minutes, sometimes I'd go 45 because I didn't want to stop watching my show. I wanted to see what happened. And then it would compel me to get back on the next day because I was dying, especially when it's a really good something on Netflix. So partnering those things is good. Now, I don't do that anymore. I take the classes because I'm in the habit of getting on the Peloton. So I don't need that. Like Chris said, I amped it up a little bit because I was on the habit of getting on the Peloton. Now I just take a 20 or a 30-minute class and work that into my schedule. Make sure you guys, there's balance to your life, right? So work, self-care, make sure you're scheduling in self-care. Whether it's whatever it is, going to the gym, walking, whatever it is, make it a priority and put it in your calendar. It's so rewarding when you look at that calendar and it is so full and you realize, wow, I have a nice full life, my business, but it's a balance to it as well. It's just, you want to make sure when I'm with my grandkids, I block out that time because now we know every Wednesday, not today, but typically every Wednesday, I'm taking Benny, my youngest grandson, to get shots. So I leave here, I go to Clovis, I pick him up. My whole time Wednesday is blocked out because I know I'm picking Benny up, I'm taking him for shots. We go and get whatever treat we do. I take him home, spend a little time. Their mom and dad come home, and then I go home. It's blocked out. Has that been a problem? Nope, not at all, because I block it. Clients don't know where I'm at. They don't know if I'm showing property on a listing or with my grandkids. I do it on the weekends when I know if I'm not going to be working, I block out the time. I've got the boys. Or I took Winnie and Ollie to the vet. I blocked the time out. Time to get and make sure it's not just the appointment, but the time before to get there and the time after. I use a lot of my time driving from Visalia to Porterville and vice versa to make phone calls. That's the time I return phone calls, is when I'm in the car. Okay, so that's the very, very exciting world of time blocking. Does anybody else have any other comments? I know it's boring. I know it's you have to do it, but I promise you, if you guys do it and your business becomes more organized and you are dedicated, it will show in your commissions. I promise.
And if you struggle, for me, out of the Atomic Habits, the 1 minute rule is what helped me. where you start doing it for at least 1 minute. And ideally, you end up getting in a roll and just keep going at it, but if not, you stop at the minute. If it's something you hate so much.
So if you guys want to tell me what your goals are, text it to me. I'll check back in with you next month and we'll see how it's going. But I would suggest you get an accountability partner and then also write everything in your calendar and write what you're doing. Okay? Anything else? Next week, Ronnie is coming back to do a social media clinic. So everybody get out your phones right now and block out 11 o'clock next Wednesday, because Ronnie's going to come and we're going to have our phones and we're going to do a little clinic. We are not recording it next week. It's going to be a hands-on. So if you guys want to come here, we'll all pile in. It was great the last time we did it, and we learned how to do something, didn't we, Jim? We learned how to do that post with the grids with the three and how to put links on it. We learned all kinds of stuff, and I use it now and put music to it, and Jim did too. So she'll come back with helping us whatever your problems are, whatever you're trying to work on, and then she'll have one new learning thing, one new thing that we can skill that she's going to teach us as well. All right. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
I noticed.
All